The streaming industry has witnessed a surge in competition, with numerous companies launching their own platforms to meet the growing demand for digital content. However, Sony, as a major player, has taken a different approach. Rather than focusing solely on building a streaming service and competing with the likes of Disney+, Netflix, and Max, which was formerly known as HBO Max, Sony took the blue pill instead and embraced the traditional way of capturing audiences while also getting that bag. And right now, you are seeing these same companies starting to follow Sony's recipe. And it wasn't through streaming, but instead through what Hollywood likes to call it licensing. Licensing in Hollywood terms simply means there is a contractual agreement between two companies where one company leases its intellectual property to another company under specific terms and conditions. An example of this would be Spider-Man, for example. Sony has the rights to Spider-Man currently, but they leased Spider-Man to Marvel's MCU for the time being, but Sony still owns the Spider-Man rights. Now, if we expand that concept, licensing could mean one studio, for example Warner Brothers, puts their Batman animated TV show on Amazon Prime, as I believe we saw with Batman the Caped Crusader. Now, why would a studio with their own streaming service do that? Because it makes them more money than having the show on their own platform. I know, it can sound dumb, but follow me here. Sony has been very bold with their choice to stay out of the streaming wars, and ever since has flaunted their decision making actually. The CEO of Sony Pictures said during an investor meeting that, quote, "Our decision years ago to stay out of the crowded general streaming space and instead become the industry's leading independent content supplier was clearly the right choice," end quote. Would Sony be wrong though? They realize that the best money in Hollywood, just like in other industries, is being the middleman. Sony has The Last of Us on HBO Max, Cobra Kai on Netflix, and For All Mankind on Apple TV+. Sony plays itself as an independent studio who is aggressive in selling films and TV shows to all the major streaming services and TV networks. Competition and spending among streamers to fuel their platforms will only become more intense. Plus, Sony makes themselves an attractive location for talent to produce their content. While the studios are refusing to accept the key demand to SAG-AFTRA and WGA's request of streaming residuals transparency, Sony is focusing primarily on traditional theater experience for their big movies and use their mid-size and low-budget films for streaming. Look at Across the Spider-Verse, for example. It came out in June of 2023 and just now is going to digital. That may not seem like a long time to some people, but in this era, staying in the theater for 3 months is becoming less common, as most of the major releases this year, like Creed, John Wick 4, even Mario, etc., they were on sale digitally within 45 days, causing those sales to eat into the potential box office revenue. Sony didn't stop there. They also struck a 5-year deal with Netflix that allows Netflix to have first dibs on Sony's movies once they leave the theater, and that will earn Sony hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the contract. That just shows what these other studios like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Paramount are missing. And it seems like there's a panic button happening with these executives. The shift from stockholders' perspective from focusing on subscriber growth to profitability has led to some prominent figures in the film industry to shift blame away from themselves for the perceived decline of television and instead pointing fingers now at Netflix as their preferred scapegoat. Netflix's rapid growth in the streaming industry has left traditional media moguls feeling uneasy and envious, essentially, prompting them to also abandon the established cable TV model in favor of their own streaming platforms. However, this attempt has not brought the same level of profitability to these companies. Disney's last quarter hearing revealed that not only did Disney Plus lose subscribers due to losing out on the broadcast rights of the sport cricket in India, but Disney CEO Bob Iger claims Disney Plus will finally turn profitable by the end of 2024, but Disney Plus is currently $1.1 billion in the hole as of December 2022. Now, many investors are calling cap on Iger's statement and putting Disney, one of the largest media organizations, on the defense. While Disney can survive a $1.1 billion hit, other streaming platforms like Paramount Plus and Comcast's dark horse Peacock are looking doom and gloom. Paramount Plus, like Disney, is also in the arms race of content, but is proving too much to handle for the company, with the Paramount Plus CEO himself doing a little nudge and wink about being potentially bought. And TV advertising has dropped to 11% on the platform. Plus, the CEO pretty much revealed that Paramount Plus is currently increasing in debt, going from $456 million to $511 million in debt just to support growing the platform. The streaming era is looking like there's going to be a massive shakeup of who stays and who falls. Even Paramount CEO Brian Robbins says they are moving away from releasing original animated movies in theaters, like the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, I'm assuming, and instead will focus on IPs. The CEO states that we're not going to release an expensive original animated movie and just pray people will come. And don't even get me started on Comcast Peacock, as they predict it will hit a $3 billion loss this year, with them hoping this is hopefully the peak. Now, what does all this mean? Glad you asked. Because it appears the studios are giving half-truths on how successful these services will be in the future. Studios are starting to provide more ad plans, licensing, and cutting password sharing, everything that is essentially anti-consumer. With studios confronted by increasing interest rates, slow subscriber growth, and sudden pressure from their investors to demonstrate profitability, studios are altering their strategies now. Major players like Warner Bros. Discovery, Disney, and Paramount are now canceling projects and withdrawing content from their own streaming services, often seeking tax advantages or aiming to evade residual payments. Certain titles are now finding their way to other streaming services through licensing deals, but others vanish completely without even a chance to purchase it physically. Also, these companies are tightening their grip on subscribers through increasing fees and new limitations, especially Netflix, since they have introduced stricter rules for password sharing. Disney Plus now offers ad-free viewing at a premium price, with CEO Bob Iger implying another price hike. And Warner Bros. Standard Max package no longer includes 4K video and restricts simultaneous streaming to 2 devices. Overall, Sony's blueprint of leveraging licensing agreements instead of developing its own streaming service has proven successful in this competitive streaming landscape, and now will change the future of the streaming era. Sony did this by strategically partnering with established streaming platforms such as Disney Plus and Max, and now Sony has guaranteed wider accessibility for its catalog while also minimizing financial risks. Now, this approach has allowed Sony to focus on content creation and distribution while also increasing brand recognition. As the streaming industry continues to evolve, Sony can continue to thrive and deliver its content to global audiences through licensing partnerships. The gold rush era of streaming has now passed. What comes next is anyone's guess, but one thing that's for certain is that we, the consumers, will end up as the losers. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts down below and let me know where you think the streaming wars are headed, who's gonna survive, who's gonna fail, who's gonna merge, who's gonna peace out. I don't know, but I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts. This is the Source Plug, and I'm out.